Has political violence in Bengal taken a new, more dangerous turn? That's the big question after we saw weeks of violence and intimidation that marked the local panchayat elections. And then last week, 2 BJP workers were found dead hanging in the Purulia district. Their families say they were killed for political reasons. In the second case, the police claim it was suicide, but the family there isn't buying it. Bengal has always seen political violence. It's seen it for decades under the left. But under Mamata Banerjee, not much seems to have changed. The BJP has gone as far as to say that there are targeted killings of their workers in the state. Joining us on NDTV this evening is Union Minister Babul Supriyo, who is also a member of Parliament from Bengal. Professor Garga Chatterjee, who is a supporter of the Trinamool Congress, is joining us as well. And senior journalist Sabha Naqvi here in the studio with us. Babul Supriyo, to you first. The police are claiming that based on the evidence they have found, based on the post-mortem report that was conducted, the post-mortem that was conducted by 5 doctors, that in the second case of a BJP worker dying in Bengal, that this was a suicide. His family is rejecting that claim. What is the BJP saying on this? Are you saying you have no faith in the 5-doctor panel that did this post-mortem?
Nidhi, first of all, it's not about this particular death of a resident of Bengal. Politics is something that always should come secondly. Unfortunately, that is not the case. I generally would like to believe that what the family is saying, they have a very solid ground to say that, because let's not forget that the SP of that particular district has been transferred by herself, because he went ahead and said it's a suicide even before any reports could actually, before it was investigated. So in any case, we have found the CID being involved and has been accused by the NIA of destroying evidence in different cases where the Trinamool Congress was under pressure. So we do not have any faith in the system or the administration, which actually works as a extension of the TMC cadres there. So therefore, if this is a case where TMC thinks that everything is fair, then they should just go ahead and ask for a CBI probe to bring back the faith of the people, because the entire West Bengal knows that no matter what their leaders say. I was very surprised to see the way Derek has written. He has accused the Maoists, from the Jharkhand borders close by, the left, the BJP, but he has very mysteriously left out his own TMC cadres who have been accused of behaving like goons to everyone's knowledge. So that's absolutely bipartisan. That is a very biased behavior by the powerful people in the party, and under no circumstances can CID do an independent probe into the matter. So why not call for CBI if there is no if there is no marquee area in the entire thing? Then it's going to come out. So the state government, instead of getting into a tussle, should rather feel confident about it. That let's go. Okay, if you're accusing this, let's go and have a CBI probe.
You know, in the times that we live in, and unfortunately, the CBI was actually called a caged parrot by the Supreme Court under the previous government, Mr. Supriyo. But given the politically charged times we live in, would it actually be better if there was a Supreme Court monitored SIT that would investigate these killings and what is happening? I mean, that way nobody can frankly argue, and I'm going to ask the TMC about that also. But then nobody can say and point fingers and say that it's politically motivated. Let it be monitored by the top court.
Yes, we have no problem. We have no problem. And see, Nidhi, the problem is in West Bengal is that everyone is not into politics. But look at the fear that is spread everywhere. People today, they think that going to vote or exercise their voting right is a jhamela, is trying to get into trouble. They want to stay back home. That's what it is. And the second biggest problem is that the violence spread by the TMC Gunda is one thing, and the police, having a sure shot nexus with them to ensure that they either flee to the safe havens or nothing is done to those miscreants. Rather, the BJP supporters are put behind bars with grave charges, non-bailable charges against them. So the nexus between the police, the administration and the TMC cadre is what is the biggest threat in Bengal today. And I think that time has come when serious thoughts will be given by the government at the center to see whether these conditions in West Bengal, this breakdown of law and order or faith of the people who have voted a government to power, should lead to 356 being considered for West Bengal.
All right, so you're taking it as far as to suggest president's rule in the state. Professor Chatterjee, let me ask you though, before you respond to what Mr. Supriyo has said, Actually, when Derek O'Brien tweeted about the probe into this incident, and Babul Supriyo pointed that out, that, you know, what role did the Jharkhand border have to play, what elements of the Bajrang Dal, the Maoists or the BJP are involved, let the truth be found out through a proper probe. But when you say that in a tweet, in a way, you're kind of giving a direction to the state police that, you know, this is what you need to look at. And therefore, questions will be raised about the nature of the investigation.
A government which has transferred a person, an SP, who came into, who basically said prematurely that it was a suicide and transferred it, then it is very clear that the government wants a real probe. A suicide would have put any kind of, the kind of allegations that BJP is producing, a suicide prematurely would have done away with that. It did not do that. The government institute, the police, a new SP came. You know, so that's basically the idea, and it has been now said to be a suicide by the autopsy. What's more important, though, is the level of allegations which the BJP is trying to build in a party, in a state where it's without much base. A party with 3 seats out of 295 seats in the West Bengal Assembly is calling for president's rule. Let's first understand that.
That doesn't
when
matter.
Trilochan Mahato, when Trilochan Mahato was found dead, okay, he was not a Dalit. He was named as a Dalit. He was named as a Dalit by all the top BJP leaders. All the top BJP leaders. Go look at, you know, social media, all the blue-ticked people. Then a whole day a narrative was sent out. This is the thing, I think, what Babul Supriyo talks about everybody, because that's the place their BJP IT cell works. And in the evening, you have Cobra Post tainted channels kind of doing 1 hour, 2 hour shows on this. And it's sad that NDTV, though it is upright, it is now has to chase this deer which has been set forth by this Cobra Post
because
channels.
people are dead,
It's an
Mr.
extremely
Chatterjee.
dangerous make-believe world that is being seen.
No, it's not make-believe.
Yes, people are dead. Yes,
Two
people
people
are
were
dead.
found hanging.
Yes,
That's not
yes,
make-believe,
people are
that's
dead.
very real.
Yes,
So
yeah,
any journalist should
it's
pursue
not
that story.
make-believe. No.
What? And we have every right to ask if it's a fair probe. Is it a fair probe? Was there a direction given to this probe? Is this a fair investigation? Why should we believe the autopsy of the 5-doctor panel? Why?
Well, that's the question, right? If you do not believe any state agency, it means that you do not have any faith in the constitution. We have seen this with the BJP, where they hoist saffron flags on Rajasthan High Court. You know, this is exactly coming out of their playbook. And let me talk about the Jharkhand border. During the Panchayat polls, where the majority of the people getting killed were Trinamool Congress workers, this Babul Supriyo spread communal hatred before that, brought in people from Jharkhand, and got people killed in Bengal. We have experience of this. We are not speaking out of thin air.
Babul Supriyo,
We
quick
do not know whether this is the case. Their investigation will show.
Okay, let me ask Mr. Supriyo about that, because what Professor Chatterjee is saying is that then you don't have the faith in any state agency, and to that extent, let me ask you that. Is there some grain of truth in that, at some point we all have to take a step back and say, yes, we believe that the police is conducting a fair probe. We believe, for instance, we by and large, except members of actually your party, believed in the J&K police's probe in Katwa and the fine charge sheet that they put out there, for example. So when do we sort of draw that line, Mr. Supriyo?
Well, you see, I'm not going to respond to anything that Mr. Chatterjee has to say, because he does not represent his party. He's just a TMC loyalist. I will get into an argument if Derek is there, because I will get into his tweet and all that later on. This is all bizarre story. You know, this is not a BJP documentary that every media channel is showing on television. These are actual media reports that has been shot by your own colleagues, whose cameras have been broken, who have been made to rewind their films, erase them, and they have been attacked. They have been hospitalized. These are actual pictures of the event. And at that point of time, when you have these TMC people throwing mudslinging and running away from actual probes, then what kind of argument do you want to get into? And let me tell you one more thing, that everyone who's writing on social media are not into politics. There are common people who are completely disgusted with the kind of political atmosphere which is prevailing in West Bengal at this point of time, when Poriborton was what was promised to them. And let me tell you that everyone agrees that CPM was brutal. They were inhumanic, whatever they did in West Bengal for 34 years. But DD's rule in 6-7 years have broken all kinds of records. You know, since 1977 to 2017, the total number of uncontested seats were 23,000. Even in 2003, when CPIM was there, the uncontested seats were about 4 to 5,000. In 2018 alone, 34% seats went uncontested. You have a minister announcing on stage, Shubhendu Adhikari, that if you can do a non-opposition election there, I will give the panchayat 5 crores. You have the so-called number 2 in Trinamool Congress, Abhishek Banerjee, saying that I am going there on the 1st. I will ensure that on that day there is no opposition there. And Jhargram is a place where BJP has won. So what signal are you giving to your leaders who are coming to the forefront, or trying to gain some importance in the party, that we are going to clean the opposition up with the help of the police? And we have seen the police and the TMC cadres marching with the same weapons. So why do I get into an argument? These are real pictures, not a documentary by
Okay, let me ask about that.
As a
political
Let's talk logical and get behind politics.
So why is this happening?
I think I would like to respond.
Mamta Banerjee, one second, Professor Chatterjee. Why is Mamta Banerjee doing exactly what the left did? I mean, when the left did that to her, you saw Mamta's rise in Bengal. She's doing it to the BJP. You'll probably see the BJP's rise in Bengal anyway, irrespective of this.
So Nidhi, there's a whole tradition from Siddharth Shankar Ray during the Congress time. People were unleashed against communists and Nakshalites. It's a state with one of the highest population densities in India, where for all the genius that Bengal produces, there's also a very high level of political intolerance of other people. It's, you know, I don't have that, but I did begin my career in a Calcutta paper. And it was a new kind of culture where you go somewhere and bodies come floating down during panchayat elections in some village. So people, so to break the cadre of the left, it required somebody to be tough. I mean, the left is a true cadre-driven organization. Now what you have here, and I think the left cadre was more disciplined than Mamta's cadre, before anybody, you know, interrupts, because the left does have a system in place. And now you've had some of the left cadre, you've had new social groups which have joined her. Everybody sort of feeling empowered because she is tough, she's there, she's not shrinking by any chance. At the same time, the BJP is growing. It is emerging as the likely opposition, no matter how small it may be. The other element which has come, not in these specific murders, Nidhi, is that politics in Bengal, which was actually freed of the communal virus, has started to move around the communal idiom. That is going to be so the tragedy is, I expect more violence, more pitch rhetoric, more television programs also which feed off that narrative. You know, we can expect a lot more of that. It's a big state, it's an important state.
But you know, the point is, Professor Chatterjee, what is the parivartan then in Bengal? And you know, it is actually astounding, and when we did this during the panchayat elections as well, when you have 34% of the seats where candidates are elected unopposed, you know, where people were so scared to campaign during the panchayat elections that they were conducting their campaign on WhatsApp. Isn't that actually a very astounding statement on the situation in the state?
It's an astounding situation only when looked without the context that most of the people killed in Panchayat poll violence were Trinamool workers, number one. Number two, if you look at NCRB data, National Crime Records Bureau, political violence in West Bengal has radically dipped, has radically come down after 2011. I would like to respond to what Babul Supriyo said. He said common people are talking about it. The record is for everyone. Go there when the event happens. A dead body is found in the morning. All through the day, basically BJP IT cell people and very top functions of the BJP cell a Dalit burning in Bengal, Dalits destroying in Bengal. Then Cobra Post tainted channels picked that the Dalit one. You do not do that, and I congratulate you for not spreading the falsehood. And then you have a whole news cycle based on this. Now this is exactly what they are doing. And more importantly, it's a war on reality. BJP and these communal fascists are conducting a war on reality. They have money, they have Adani, they have Ambani, they have Paytm, they have every damn thing in the world. But Bengal has people, and the people of Bengal will stand right a rock against these outsider communal fascists. They will be thrown to the dustbins of history. Bengal is a land of civility. Bengal is not a place like UP where 40 people are encountered and not a single SP is transferred. They are actually given gold medals.
Well, you actually have a point about the NCRB data, which we have as well, which Babul Supriyo actually does show a dramatic decline in political murders. To that extent, let me ask you, Mr. Supriyo, that does this kind of politics and what is happening in Bengal actually suit the BJP's sort of style of politics? I mean, actually the BJP tends to thrive when you have that kind of conflict and confrontation, and you guys did pretty well even in the just concluded by-polls.
No, Nidhi, the very simple fact is that if you see, fear actually doesn't reside in the mind of the people. It is probably fear that is residing in the mind of the Honorable CM Mamta Didi and the TMC cadres, because if they are talking about Porivartan and development, if that was something that they were taking to the to the people, panchayat, corporate civic bodies are the last mile of delivery. If that really happened, what was the need for this? What was the need to have this kind of violence in the polls? They should rather let everyone go into votes, go and exercise their voting rights and win handsomely. Why this 34% of this thing? Secondly, I once again would want to ignore the sermon that Mr. Chatterjee wants to give, because he is not even from the party that he is speaking for. No official post. The thing is that why didn't you just play the video clipping of the East, who clearly she says that the Trinamool people picked him up and has killed him. Clear statement from the family. What else do you want? Let's get away from politics. I was in that Asansol running on JDA for the entire period of the panchayat elections, and I've seen what have happened. I have campaigned in road shows where the lights have been turned off. Lights have been turned off entire stretch, 30 kilometers, 25 kilometers, no light. Street lights have been turned off when I was campaigning, and they have been told that this darkness is going to grow in the night. Let Babul Supriyo cross that area. We will see what happens to you. These are true words, Didi, and the journalists have actually captured it on camera. Why do I need to listen to any political sermon when I have the wife of the deceased saying that the Trinamool has killed my husband?
Not at all. I just want to make one point, Nidhi. It's more an analytical point.
And appeasement politics tragedy is something
this
which
time
is
the BJP is on the.
So if you have a okay, go ahead.
This time the BJP is on the receiving end, and it's very, very tragic. And I fear it will remain this way till whatever political outcomes are known at the end of the 2019 election. But the tragedy is that whenever it comes to communal mobilization, the point about fake mobilization, I can give Mr. Babul Supriyo, as somebody who's covered the BJP for 2 decades, there's an extraordinary investment in creating fake communal images. People like Nupur Sharma, their own people of the IT cell have been directly called out by all of us in many, and some of them have been shamed and apologized. The BJP does that. Is in you are creating fake communal narratives, and this has been particularly applied to Bengal, because there is a large minority population and because somebody else is in power. These narratives tend to ease off a bit, once you have victory after
Not
that.
that condones in any
Not
way
that
any
condones
kind of
it.
political
So
violence
Mr.
or
Supriyo
murder.
is right about many things that are wrong, but he must take responsibility for the fact that his party, in the toxic world of fake communal news that we are sort of subjected to, which is creating a fake reality, that his party is responsible for it. Responsible members of the IT cell are there.
Well, I have to leave it at that today, but I think that there are important things for the Bengal Chief Minister to be thinking about what is happening in her state. In a way, it seems to be regressing to the days of the past when we saw that kind of political violence under the CPM. So those are disturbing questions that she needs to account for, and the kind of atmosphere that in turn has created in the state. Thank you to all of you for joining us. Thank you.